As humans, we need to feel a sense of belonging to one another, to our friends and families, to our culture and country, and to our world. Belonging is a primal fundamental to our sense of happiness and well-being. Today, I welcome guest Buffalo, New York singer-songwriter, record producer, Ms. Lindsay Munich, to serenade us with her original music, and also Rochester, New York CEO of Homesteads for Hope, Ms. Jennyrae Brongo. And today we're going to be talking about the meaning of belonging in a very socially distant world. My name is Amanda Ashley, and this is Afternoon Cocktail, episode 38, Belonging. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Linz, you ready to rock out for us?
Yes, I am.
And it's Munich, right? I realized after I said it, I messed it up already.
Oh, yeah, Munich.
Sorry about that. Well, what are you going to play for us?
So the first song I'm going to do is my song called Afterglow, and I just released it on the 17th. And it's about staying present when the world is chaotic. And I hope you enjoy it.
It sounds pretty accurate to today's times. Oh, take it away.
Yeah. Running laps and circles in my mind, chasing down freight trains. I find the more that I try, they move farther away. Truth is, I want to let go of the need to compare and to control, and then I'll be free. So many people out there searching for joy. The world is scary, I know. I don't know where else to think it'll be except deep in the afterglow. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa. My eyes are open, they're open and closed, all at the same time. Day by day, missing what I see, then 20 years go by. You know I want to let go of the need to compare and to control, and then I'll be free. So many people out there searching for joy. The world is scary, I know. I don't know where else to think it'll be except deep in the afterglow. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa, whoa, oh, 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 whoa. I wanna see the leaves change colors and the waves roll in. I wanna see the world like it's my first, like an alien new to the earth. So many people out there searching for joy. The world is scary, I know. I don't know where else to think it'll be except deep in the afterglow. Oh, so many people out there searching for joy. The world is scary, I know. I don't know where else to think it'll be except deep in the afterglow. Oh, whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, yeah, whoa, oh, oh,
Awesome,
Thank you.
Lindsay. That's your latest single, right?
Yes, yep.
I love it. And you just released that, was it 2 days ago?
Yeah, on last Friday.
So, Lindsay, I mean, congratulations on your latest single. That's super exciting. Unfortunately, we're having trouble getting your video up here. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, I'm not sure. But so right now, you are actually in Tennessee at an Airbnb, correct? Not in Buffalo, New York. So,
No.
we might be having a little bit of an internet connection. Hopefully, that'll change throughout our interview. But anyway, so let's get into our interview anyhow. So tell us a little bit about your music and how when did you begin your songwriting career? I mean, when did you start writing music, picking up an instrument?
Yeah, so a little bit about my musical journey is I've always just really liked music. I could remember picturing myself like in music videos and stuff on the bus in like elementary school and everything. And I started playing violin pretty early on, but it wasn't until I heard the song Fireflies by Owl City that music just really captured me. And I started to dig deeper into what he was doing, and turns out he was producing and writing like everything himself or almost himself, just at a home studio setup. And then that just fascinated me, so I started, learning how to record myself, learning how to produce myself, and I had done a few sessions where, I was just the artist in someone else's studio, but I was like, no, I want to do this myself. So many nights and days during high school were spent learning how to, write songs and record and all that.
So, do you come from a musical family? Does anybody else have? I mean, your talent is unbelievable. I mean, I wish I could write. It really, I'm taken by it. Like, I have no patience for recording myself or the engineering side of it. I'm the artist that's like, nope, I'll go to the experts. I'll go to somebody like you that, could handle that because I just get frustrated when I try to record myself. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, who I mean, I had a feeling Owl City was probably one of your biggest inspirations because I saw that you had a lot of covers on your YouTube page from
Hmm.
him. He is great. I love them. Have you ever listened to the Postal Service?
Yes.
They remind me,
Yeah.
yeah, Ben Gibbard and like that whole project reminds me a lot of Owl City. I see like similar
Yeah.
correlations. But
Yeah.
so, I mean, did anybody in your family play instruments, or I mean, who inspired you to play?
I'd say my family definitely are huge music fans, and I had been to so many concerts. I think one of my first concerts that I remember I was the Goo Goo Dolls, of course, in Buffalo, and I was probably like 5 or something, but I can still remember it. And I remember getting their two-song EP and just playing that all the time. So I think that had a lot more influence on me than I realized until recently. But in my family, no one's actually really playing instruments. My brother, like, really, one day I just woke up and I was like, I want to play bass. And I was like 12. And I didn't really have any influence for that. I just wanted to play, like, electric bass. And my mom had actually just met a guy who is one of the best bass players in Western New York, David Frost. And he had won a few, like, awards around town. And she told him about this. And so I started taking lessons with him. And he really became my musical mentor locally. And then I just transitioned to, I started taking bass lessons, and then my brother started guitar lessons. So I was taking bass lessons, and I kind of would take his guitar and start teaching myself songs online. That's kind of how it started.
That's amazing. I love it. So, I mean, you are how old now? You're 21?
Yes, I'm 21 now. I was around
So young.
12 when I.
It's amazing. So you recorded and released your very first album at age 16. I mean, that's amazing. For you and your songs sound so well produced and so, I mean, you did an amazing job. So kudos to you. I mean, and you even wrote I mean, you wrote all your own parts and did all the instrumentation on it as well, right? For most of it?
Yes. Yeah, I had some friends chip in to do some instrumental parts, and do a lot of feedback, like listening sessions, but it was really, yeah, a lot of that was me.
How long did it take you to record that entire album? You did 12 songs about,
Yeah, I would
I mean,
say like the song We Are Balloons on there was like the first song I ever wrote. So a lot of those songs were the first songs I had written. And so for the writing stage, it was kind of like I was always writing it since I was 12. But for recording, I was also learning to record while making them. So it
okay.
kind of took from when I started to age 16, but for the final masters, I had re-recorded the parts around 9 times just because I was learning so much every time that I'm like, man, I got to go back and do it again. So before I really started the final mixing, I just re-recorded everything like right before that. So I would say it was about a year of just nonstop, you
Yeah,
know,
that's,
in
I
the
mean,
dark.
even a year's amount of time, like, I feel like that would take me like 10 years. Maybe not 10 years, but like probably at least 2 years to like get something. I'm sure more than that to get that quality. You did great. Um, can you tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about the Grammy Foundation.
Yeah, so in 2015, I went to the Grammy Foundation's annual camp called Grammy Camp. And I had seen this, after the Grammys, they'll have commercials at the end, and they were featuring Grammy Camp. In 2014, I applied and I didn't get in. 2015, I applied again and I did get in with those recordings that I was, learning on the Dusk at Dawn album. And so the premise of it is it's like an annual high schools only, uh, and you go for specific tracks. So I was there for audio engineering. I was one of two women in that out of maybe 10 people for the audio engineering track. But then you also had the songwriters, you had the instrumentalists, and videographers, music journalists. So everyone was there for like their specialty they wanted to do. And I can remember being in the studio. I'm there, and there's the teacher for the instrumentalist there, and he's the record producer, and he's done some pretty big records. And he's over there, and I have this whole console in front of me. I'm new to Pro Tools, and they're like, you have to fly on the keyboard if they see you mousing around, like it looks bad for the artist, and you just gotta keep it fast. And I was like, where's my team? It was just me, and I'm gonna have to record this whole band. And so that was like a very professional environment that I was used to just recording at home, no deadlines, no real structure, and then here I am breaking all these bad habits I had, learning in a professional environment. And so a lot of those people I met there I'm still very close with today. And there's great people there from my cohort doing amazing things now. It's really cool to see. And then Maren Morris was one of the first cohorts in like 2005. She went to Grammy Camp, and obviously she's doing amazing things now. So I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for that.
How cool is that? I mean, how would you say that experience, I mean, what impact did that experience have on your current recordings? I mean, you're working on a brand new project now. I mean, I'm sure you learned so much in that time. I mean, how would you say it impacted your songwriting and what you're currently doing today?
Yeah, I would say like I had a weird habit of just recording way too quietly. And so going there, I saw them actually doing healthy gain staging on, instruments. So that was a very technical thing I took away from that. From For the rest of it, I think it was just like, taking it like I was taking it seriously, but just seeing how many people I could meet from who are also doing music, like just making those connections with people my own age just really solidified like, hey, I don't feel like the only one doing this anymore. And then I also did meet a lot of people in LA, so when I eventually did move there, I had some connections already.
So you actually lived in LA for a little while?
Yeah, I moved there at the end of the beginning of October 2017. I went out there for another kind of program it's called Create Music Academy. and they break down production behind like top 10 records and how songs are produced and what are those people doing. So I went there for a boot camp and then just stayed for about 2 years.
How amazing. So these are what incredible experiences to have at your age and, so young in your career. That's very lucky. I mean, you totally deserve it. You're incredible. So, yeah, and I'm sure many more doors are gonna open up for you, especially with the release of your upcoming singles. I mean, what is the biggest standout, evolution-wise? I mean, for you from your last album, Dust Till Dawn, to your current single and the singles yet to come. How would you say you've evolved as a musician and, as a human being?
Oh yeah. So the first project, Dusk at Dawn, was like, I feel like a lot of my writing, like there's a lot of writing prompts where it's like, hey, write a song about this. But I feel like I go to songwriting and I'm there to discover how I'm feeling. I feel like a lot of my subconscious comes out in my songwriting and in ways that I don't understand at the time, actually. So Afterglow was written in December, but the lyric, "The world is scary, I know, stay present," like, that's always relevant, but it became increasingly relevant throughout this time. And that just feels like there's no way I could have predicted that. But I feel like it just needed to come out now because of that. So I'm like, how did I, So I just feel like trusting, like since then, I was producing the album Dusk at Dawn, but for some reason I didn't like trust myself. Like I just had to become more secure in my skills, and I didn't think I was a producer. I was like, oh, no, I'm just recording my songs. But if I go back and listen to it now, like those aren't just acoustic songs. Like there's drums, there's strings, there's other things. So I think from a self-improvement standpoint and self-discovery, just learning to trust myself more, feel more secure, more positive self-talk throughout the process, more positively motivated instead of, out of fear or something. So I think those are some ways that I've grown since that. But I still think the energy of Afterglow is very Dusk at Dawn. Just, 2020 lens instead of 2015 is actually when that came out.
Gotcha. So what about, okay, so today's theme is belonging. Can you share with us maybe, was there ever a time in your life where you felt out of place or felt like you didn't belong, and how did that change for you? Where did you find that place? That you where did it change down the line where you were like you felt like you were where you belonged?
Yeah. So, I was always kind of doing my own thing growing up. I was, the only girl on all guy hockey teams for many years, like ice hockey. And then Grammy Camp, like, I was one of two women out of, 10 or 15 people in the audio engineering track. So I feel like I'd always been different or outside. And I never really let it bother me per se, though, because I was just so engrossed in it and fascinated by it. And I was, I'd love for more women to get involved in those things. But in terms of like finding a home, I did a lot of traveling since I graduated. I graduated high school in 2016, and then, before I went out to California, my brother's actually in California now, so he moved there in 2014. I was there visiting him all the time, and just like seeing, what I could learn about California and like seeing it with Buffalo and everything, and just trying to find my home. And I did write a song called Observer, which really is all about like trying to find your home and belonging. The lyrics are, I'm just an observer. Anywhere I go, I'm just, trying to learn about everything, trying to find my people. And I really feel like I found my home online. In high school, I have a lot of friends from high school, but I was posting my music online and I built my community that way. And actually, the Airbnb I'm staying at right now is with my best friends that we all met basically on SoundCloud through, me releasing music. And we've been friends for 5 years. And this is our first time all together in one place in real life. So that ties
Your
it
fir-
into the.
this is I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is your first time actually meeting like face to face.
Not our first time meeting face to face. We all had been together in different ways in person, but as a group, we've never all been together. So this is our first time.
How fun. That's so cool. And how long are you going to be staying there?
Until Friday.
Okay. Are you guys writing together or are you, I mean, obviously
Yeah,
you're having a good time and enjoying each other's company, but yeah, is your goal ultimately by the end of the week to like write a song together or to do something musically?
yeah, for sure. We were working on a cover yesterday. Today, we're hoping to go out and take some photos and do all kind of like the marketing visual end of it. And then we definitely have some projects lined up for each of us to work on all together.
Well, that sounds fun. I'm jelly. Well, good for you. I love it. Well, you guys enjoy each other's company. And Lynn, tell us where our audience can download your new single and where they could find you.
Yeah, so my new song is called Afterglow. It's available on Spotify. You can follow me on YouTube, Lynn's Music. All of my handles are that. Facebook, Instagram, and and my website is lynsmusic.com. I do have a little email newsletter there that I'm starting to get more engaged with, and Instagram, all the big platforms.
I love it. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for performing for us today. And I'm sorry we can't see your beautiful face right now. That's a bummer, but I'm happy that we have our conversation and that we were able to have you on this afternoon. We're gonna hear one more song from Lindsay in the end. And before I introduce my next guest, Miss Jennyrae Brongo, I just would like to throw a shout out to today's sponsors. We are in Afternoon Cocktail Season 2, Part 2, and we picked up some real amazing support from our local community here. So, first and foremost, Electronic Merchant Systems of New York. If you guys are in need of accepting credit card payments or have any assistance or questions, the charge card guys are who to contact. Untamed Events, MissRebeccaDodge.com will help you with all your party planning needs. Jewish Senior Life, hello to my residents at the Jewish Home of Rochester. Thank you for your support. And if you need your pizza tonight, tomorrow, or any other day this week, Salvatore's Pizza, make sure you order from them. And thank you very much to the Sawmill at Blades for their support. They're located on University Avenue. They have a full menu, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything looks so delicious always. Their pictures on social media always make me hungry. But you can find their menu at bladesrock.com. And they also have a full bar and outdoor seating as well. So make sure you go support our local businesses because they need it now more than ever. Jennyrae Brongo, you are so inspiring. I was just crying watching your TED Talk. Thank you for being on our show. How are you today?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Good.
no, seriously, I loved, I mean, reading your story is really so touching. Could you share it with our audience? I mean, your whole background. I mean, so you are CEO of Homesteads for Hope. I should mention that first. Can you tell us about the story that led you to starting your own non-for-profit and just a little bit of background about you?
Yeah, I wear many hats. As a young woman, I am a woman in construction. I am a CEO and a founder of a nonprofit organization that is grassroots with a large mission and vision for the future. I live locally in Rochester. I live in my family home. I'm an orphan. I recently lost my father and my mother, but it has made me who I am today. And the person I am today would not be anything if it was not for autism. I read a great quote last week. It says, who were you before the world told you who you had to be?" And that moment in my life was definitely after I graduated college. I went to school at Alfred State for construction management engineering. And all the way up until that point in my life at age 20, 21, I was going to be a doctor. I was going to be a developer of some sort because I wanted to make change for autism, make change for people with developmental disabilities. But not only did I want to do something very large, I kind of had to do it all by myself and kind of rogue. And the thing that I most want to say is that just, you know, people with developmental disabilities are just like everybody else. We are inclusive, we are diverse, and we all just want to belong in this world, regardless of COVID. We just want to belong, and it's a hard year.
So true, and yeah, I mean, tell us. So you inherited Brongo Contract and Supply. That was the company that your father started, right?
Well, if we're going to be real here, no, my father had like a really, really, really long business name and 13 others behind that. When I came home, the goal in college, to be in college, was to help my father, to be his next in kin. He did not have any other boy to take over the business except my brother with autism, who's just 18 months younger than me. He's 29. So it was really on me. And we wanted to build group homes. We wanted to build a community for people with developmental disabilities. That was like the thing I dreamed about my whole life. And it was every book report, it was every high school report, it was every research paper. And even in college, like I had a business planning class, and it was about creating a housing community for people with disabilities to be group homes. So my whole life has been about that. My father unfortunately passed 2 months after I graduated college, so at 21. And I just remember that day like it was yesterday. It was one of the hardest days of my life. It keeps getting harder, but it keeps making you stronger. My mother was so worried how we were going to tell autism, my brother, about heaven and where his father went and where his best friend had gone. And I was thinking, how am I going to take care of our family at this time? Just fresh out of college. I really haven't had that much world experience. I felt very sheltered because of my upbringing, because of autism, always just being a right hand to my mother and left hand to my father, just always working in the family nucleus. So I did take it over, and we are no longer what my father's business was. I own a gravel pit, 16 acres. It's on the corner of 531 in Manitou. And my background has allowed me to create something that has not been done before locally, specifically in one location. So I do construction recycling. So I collect topsoil and soil, leaves for compost, asphalt for milling, stone or concrete to make stone products, wood waste and wood chips to make mulch. So it's a sustainable recycling center is basically what I do as my
My
day
goodness,
as my
that's your
day.
day job. I was gonna say you are a busy woman for sure. How do you manage your time to do so? Like you do the construction by day, and then I mean, how do you manage both Homesteads for Hope and the construction business?
So I have a really good team. You really shouldn't have to be here every day as a business owner. I'm more so like put out the fires as a firefighter, so I'm the chief in charge. But other than that, I have a really great team. I've had people that I've had for a very long time, but also I do internships and vocational training, even at my gravel pit for, out of BOCES, out of high school students that are looking to get into the trades.
Awesome. And yeah, having a great team really sure helps, I'm sure. People you could trust. And you have family members, right, that also work with you for Homesteads for Hope? Or I thought I saw in an interview. I could be wrong, though.
Eh, I did have an aunt that did work for me over at the nonprofit, but I would say that although my family has a very large name, I would say it means nothing compared to the people that are there every single day. I create my family because they're those who support me, and we do not have to be blood relatives. It's you create the family and community that you want around you.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And you're so smart too. Like I love how you found a way to merge both businesses too. Like it seems like one fuels the other and vice versa, with the construction company, can you tell us how, I mean, I know there's some local support, like if you go to the construction business's website, there's a page for Homesteads for Hope, and some of those proceeds feed into Homesteads for Hope, but also the technology that you guys have there, right? It helps with the farming and et cetera. Could you elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah, so I do wear two hats. I own a construction business full time. I'm the full owner, but I also am the CEO and founder of a very large, up and coming, developing nonprofit, which is a community farm. So, construction, farming, it's kind of in the same category of seasonality and working so hard. Um, the biggest thing that my construction business brings to Homesteads for Hope is just offering free labor. So I am one of Homesteads for Hope's largest donors. I have built parking lots. I have built decks. I have cleaned up and did some landscaping, and I've done a lot at that property. And I lend my expertise of my employees over at that property with my machinery. If there's a slow day at Brongo Supply, I send over some of my employees to basically volunteer for free on donation over at Homesteads for Hope. But as well, it really just, Homesteads for Hope is a 55-acre farm property, and it needed a lot of help. It's historic. It was slightly well maintained, but it had a lot of work to do to make it an accessible place for what we're trying to do for young adults with disabilities. So I would say the only thing that really, how I even knew that I was really good at this and that I could do this, right? I am not a doctor. I am not a teacher. I might have wanted to be those things when I was growing up, to basically serve autism or cure autism, but there is no cure for autism. So really, the biggest thing that I bring to the table is job training, vocational training. I have worked with Wamoko Bosies locally. I have worked with Pastones in the city. I have worked with people that want to get into a trade and they just need somebody to kind of give them a hand up and not so much as a handout. And I'm really good at training people in a particular field of work, mainly construction, also farming at the farm. And I just know that people want to be, they want a hand up in life. They don't really want to be where they are. They just need someone that is going to believe in them and take the time and the patience to do so. And I've done that so well at my construction business that I knew it was something I could do over at Homesteads for Hope.
About how many clients do you have for Homesteads for Hope? Like how many people are you taking in, and what type of programs like do you offer? So I saw like on Homestead for Hope's website, there's fishing. I mean, you're using the property very well. You have a cafe where they work and they participate. And I mean, what other type of activities and opportunities are given to those that have these disabilities?
Well, we don't have a cafe yet, but if someone
Yeah.
watching would like to donate about $25,000, we will have a cafe for young adults to learn to work in that fashion at our farm, but also get jobs in the community. But we do have a farm store. So we were founded in 2013, a lot of talk, a lot of stuff. 2016 in the fall, we actually purchased Homesteads for Hope Community Farm. So we're going into our fourth season now. And when I mean season, I mean it's not much to do in the winter when you don't have conditioned spaces at our property. So it's our fourth season at Homesteads for Hope Community Farm. What we have is our largest opportunity is a sustainable and affordable recreational membership to everyone. We want to be inclusive. This is not just for people with disabilities. That might be why we have a nonprofit. That is our mission. That is our vision for the future, but we can't do it without the community. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to raise autism. And when my brother was diagnosed with autism, it was like 1 in 2,500 back in 1990. And now we're talking 2020, it's like 1 in 6 boys. So we need a future that we can depend on and sustainably understand when maybe things are broken, like this time right now. What I did last year is almost different than what I do this year because of COVID. I'm not an organization that receives funding from the government. We are a private organization. So a lot of the money is coming from people just in our 10, 20 mile radius. We don't get any government funding. And we offer a recreational membership. So last year, I think we had about 65 families that were involved full time. This year, I think we're broaching like 93. I think we just had 6 new members last week. We have a vocational program called Ready, Set, Work, and it is a vocational experience to learn to work on the farm so that they get the life skills, the job skills, so that they know how to succeed in the greater community. We're striving at that. We were down for 4 months, but we've been up and at it in July. We offer a CSA program, community supported agriculture. So people are able to sign up for a share of food for 24 weeks at our farm. They come pick it up every weekend, and it's whatever our farmer and our students are growing throughout the season, they get to take home. And only if we had 65 CSA members, half of them are already members. So we're growing our community, and we just do a lot of programs for people with developmental disabilities, primarily young adults. But I really love the community classes that we offer that are inclusive for all age groups, and all diversities. So we do a lot there, and the future is big and grand. And I guess I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my construction business, because I have a bulldozer and it teaches me how to do things all the time. So like, there's a problem, I'm like, I got a bulldozer. We got this. We're going to bulldoze this problem.
You go, girl.
I move fast.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to, right? You gotta, I mean, that's part of entrepreneurship. You gotta keep moving and keep innovating and just keep going, even when times like COVID, are just, they put a whole, a hard stop on things for a minute. But yeah, I think what you're doing is so amazing. And so, I mean, for today's theme is belonging. And I mean, you know all about that because your whole program is really based off of creating a place where people with disabilities could feel like they belong. And I think that's so powerful, because I mean, I'm sure it's a lot easier to feel out of place or to feel neglected when you have a disability. And you've seen that firsthand with your brother too. So I know that was part of your mantra. How has business in turn secured a place which has given you a further sense of belonging?
So earlier I mentioned that I'm an orphan. I lost my father 8 years ago, and I'm coming up next month losing my mother 2 years. She was the real founder of Homesteads for Hope. I might have been her brain and her legs, but she was the heart of the organization. So me and my autistic brother, we have lost our parents. And I often think if I did not have created Homesteads for Hope Community Farm, I would not have a family. I would not have a family that I could trust with my brother if I was no longer here. There are people that I have created a place of belonging to enjoy. And in turn, the people that I would call to take care of my brother in an emergency would be them. Maybe not the people with my last name, but the people that I've created because they had a place to belong and felt that they had a purpose, and we all understand each other, because growing up and raising a person with disability is a whole different upbringing than so many other have.
Sure. It's pretty powerful. How would you say all of this, like your whole life's journey, I mean, and Homesteads for Hope especially, how has this journey affected your personal growth? What has it taught you most about yourself?
Patience, even though if you ask anybody else, I do not have patience, but I can stop at any time to take care of a person who needs me with the utmost patience. Now, someone could come in and get topsoil or something at my gravel pit, and I might not have as much patience because I don't think their patio is as important as a young man with autism trying to make me coffee or trying to like serve somebody in the farm store. Like, you just stop and you allow them all the things that they want so that they can fulfill a task. And it might take me a minute to make a cup of coffee, but it might take this young man 10 minutes to make a coffee, and you just coach him in you just allow him to do the best he can. And so I have patience in those scenarios, and that has taught me something. But also my personal growth is just, you just got to keep on going. When you're going through hell, keep on going. You just have to keep on going. I always say, this year's hard. This year's hard. Oh, this is the worst year. Oh, I'll never have to be in that scenario again. But then we're in the middle of a global pandemic and it is hard. But I will tell you that there is hope somewhere along the lines in everyone's problems right now. And we have found a flooding of people looking to us for the first time, even for support, because so many other people didn't have the answers. And I said, I don't have the answers, but I will help you create the solutions and the answers for your family so you can join us in a place to belong.
You are so incredibly strong and resilient. I hope you recognize that about yourself. I'm sure you do, and everybody around you, I'm sure, does as well. Jenny, keep doing amazing things in our community. Thank you for establishing a program like this. I'm sure you're helping so many people, and I look forward to seeing Homesteads for Hope just blossom and grow throughout the years. Where can our listeners be directed to Homestead for Hope, and how could they donate to you?
So our best resource right now is our website, homesteadsforhope.org. We will have a new website coming soon, but you could still access it, and there's a donation button there. We have a great social feed on Facebook and Instagram, but also if you're local to Rochester, we are literally 10 minutes from the downtown in the heart of Rochester, located on the west side. We're on Manitow Road in Spencerport on the wide waters of the Erie Canal, because we are creating a beautiful place for people of all backgrounds and abilities to have a place to belong. So come and see us. And I would say, especially because this is music driven with Amanda, we have Fridays at the farm, and we have live music and a food truck, and this weekend is Lucia's ice cream. So come and see us for yourself and see it in action every Friday at Homesteads for Hope.
I saw that you got my buddy Joey Allen playing this weekend, and I know Rebecca Bruno is one of my favorite people. So shouties to them.
Yeah.
And yes, make sure you go support everybody if you can. If there's anything any of these non-for-profits need in our community right now, it's funding and support from people like us. So if you're able and capable to donate, please consider. And Jenny, thank you so much. You're amazing. You really are.
So much.
Linz, are you ready to rock out one more song for us? Close us out with something good, girl.
Yeah, I'd love to. That was a great story. This song is called Observer, and it just came to me. It just dawned on me. I wrote this song I wrote it in 2016. I just released it in the beginning of this year in January. It's called Observer. It's about trying to find your home, belonging. And I wrote it while traveling in San Francisco, and my brother actually, he was going to RIT in Rochester, so I just realized that's another connection here. But he was in San Francisco, and he's like, you're just an observer. Like I was just visiting him. I felt really like this is very cool and everything, but like it wasn't in a mean way, but it inspired the song. So there's a story behind that.
I love it. San Francisco is one of my favorite cities. Such a great city.
Yeah.
I'll take it away.
Okay. Yeah. Do it here. One place that I could go, but like a sucker what I didn't know is the glass pane in between me and the heart of life. So I wait on the sidelines, but this keeps me at the starting line when all the action's taking place inside. But what I've come to find, I'm just an observer. Anywhere I go, a studious learner. I've got no city, and you know I've got no ties. I'm just passed around. My life's on for size. It's a good, good life. I'd hate to wait around and hang with what just brings me down, but I'm lucky because I found an entire country waiting for me. So I'll be on the down low. I'll keep on reading and I fill my bones. I'm always learning so that I can see life with the right frame of mind to succeed. But what I've come to find, I'm just an observer. Anywhere I go, a studious learner. I've got no city, and you know I've got no ties. I'm just passed around. My life's on for size. It's a good, good life. Just an observer, a studious learner, and you know I've got no ties. I'm just passed around. My life's on for size. At the end of the day, I'm just an observer. Anywhere I go, a studious learner. I've got no city, and you know I've got no ties. I'm just passed around. My life's on for size. It's a good, good life.
Amazing. Miss Lindsay Munich. Lindsay, make sure you download her latest single, Afterglow, is just released. It's on Spotify and on all streaming services. Lindsay, thank you so much for being on our show, and keep doing incredible things. So
Yeah.
today's, oh, yeah, you're wonderful. Thank you. So today's theme was belonging. And, it is especially hard in our increasingly divided world to feel a sense of belonging. Social media makes it even harder by painting an unrealistic picture that no one ever feels lonely. Want to know the truth about belonging? It takes courage to belong. It takes bravery to show up in your own skin. It's easy to fit in. It's easy to blend in and hide your outrageousness. And it's also the easiest way to lose those precious parts of you. I want to share with you guys a little bit something about myself. I had, thinking back to my high school, even my college years, I dealt with some bouts of depression, and I always felt kind of guilty about it, which led to me feeling even more depressed. And it was because I think it was the fact that I had a good upbringing, that I had supportive friends. I had friends, I had great family. And what fed my depression even more was just that. It was because I felt like, well, anybody from the outside looking in could be like, what the heck does this girl have to be depressed about, right? But now looking back and knowing myself and the journey that has led me to becoming who I am today, I'm a lot less depressed. I'm actually happy. And a lot of that happiness came about with knowing myself and accepting me for who I am. And when I moved to Rochester in 2009, it was 2007. I moved to Rochester, and my first year being here, I was completely miserable. I just, all my friends from college that, they were into their lives, they're starting their professions. They weren't just across the street anymore or across the hall. I was in a new city. I'm from Long Island originally, so I didn't have my real friends and my family close by. So I was starting fresh in a new place, and I was waitressing, and I was going to school, and I wasn't playing any music. And it wasn't into a year and a half into my journey here that I found myself in music. I went to an open mic, and I found this place called Love and Cup, which some of you are probably very familiar with. and I saw they had a piano, and just talking to the bartender, like, hey, we got an open mic tomorrow, you should come down. I was like, wow, they have a piano, this is awesome. Dragged all my friends from the restaurant there and started playing, and suddenly I found my sense of belonging in Rochester's music community. And it changed everything for me, because now suddenly I felt like I was with people that I belonged with. I was in a community that supported me. And even though it was very new to all the things that I was being exposed to, it gave me a place to grow, and it gave me a place to learn, and it gave me my friends, and it gave me a sense of belonging. I came to realize that my internal struggles all this time stemmed from wanting to please everyone around me rather than myself. Looking back now, I realized that my struggles stemmed from a loss of identity. I didn't know who I was for a long time or what I wanted to be, and I felt pressured to label myself as being something. And I felt stupid for not knowing, because for some reason everybody else around me seemed like they knew. Anyhow, the moral of the story is, remember that you are loved, that you are worthy, and you don't have to be anyone else but yourself. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be known for the real deal that you are. So forget about trying to fit in. The best place in life where you're already okay. The best place in life is where you're already okay. So come home to you, because that's where you belong. Thank you so much to today's guests, again, Lindsay Munich and also Jennyrae Brongo. Big thank you to Beau Productions for putting all our technical glitches and aside, and for making our show what it is. And today's show sponsors, Compeer Rochester. Thank you to Salvatore's Pizzeria, to Rebecca Dodge at Untamed Events, Electronic Merchant Systems, the Sawmill at Blades, and the Jewish Home of Rochester. Thank you to you guys for tuning in, and to all our Patreon sponsors. We will be back here this Friday with a brand new show again, and we'll be closing out part 2 of season 2 this Friday as well. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you back here this Friday. Ciao.